Thank you for staying tuned tonight. As we promised, we're having a discussion on the issue of the bar industry and how it has been affected by COVID-19. We are having the Secretary General of the National Bar Association of Kenya, who is Boniface Gashoka. Mr. Gashoka, welcome on site.
Thank you so much.
All right, first things first, we have a lot to talk about when it comes to, the bar industry and how you've been affected by COVID-19 at this particular time. It is one of the sectors that has been greatly affected, given the measures that have been put in place, of course, to curb the spread of COVID-19. But I first want us to talk about the latest that we have had, the ban on alcohol sale in restaurants. What has been your take on that? We have seen you come up with mixed reactions concerning that particular directive. What has been your stand concerning what the Ministry of Health is proposing?
Actually, we've seen those proposals because they're still proposals. And actually, to me, I think they were leaked. They were leaked out. We've seen those proposals, and I would call them very unfair because it's 4 months now where we've closed our businesses. I mean, we've suffered losses. We don't even care so much about losses. But when you come up with proposals after you've put a lot of regulations, we invested a lot, infrared, social distancing. So many people we had to relieve so many people from duty. And then at the end of the day, now we get another over-regulation of being told not to sell. I mean, they're very unfair.
All right. But there has been this particular proposal which I've seen you guys take an issue on, the issue of them saying they're regulating the time on alcohol sale, and some have questioned on how it will help in, curb the spread of COVID-19. Is this a particular issue that you've raised with the Ministry of Health, and what has been your input concerning that particular draft regulation?
Today we've even protested in the Ministry of Health. We've sent them a draft. We've even protested in the State Law Office because of all these regulations. On the issues to do with time, these are issues that have been there. And I would advise Mutahi Kagwe and the advisors who are around him, and even the presidency, the whole alcohol industry has been very supportive of any measure that has been put by Mutahi Kagwe. But I think where we are is as if we are doing more of PR than even consideration. Because some of these suggestions that you're seeing them in the media, we also saw them as the whole industry players, we also got them just like that, just through via social media. These are discussions that we're supposed to sit down through the spirits of public participation, which is in our constitution. We sit down, iron them out. If there is any weakness on the side of our members, we be told we know how to deal with our members. And the same case we're also telling the governors, let's sit down and talk about this thing. Diplomacy will do it better, and that is the word. All
right, now from reading from what you're saying, is like, given this draft regulation, have you received any sort of a platform to public participate in this particular guideline? Because there is need for the aspect of public participation. Have you been called on board to sort of discuss and give your input on these draft regulations?
Public participation is in the constitution, and one of the reasons why it was brought is to avoid dictatorial tendency, and that's exactly what we're experiencing today. That regulations are being set from somewhere. We have not actually, we have responded to that draft that was given to us, but we've not been called for public participation. Neither were we even involved in drafting, neither were we even consulted. And that's why we call them unfair, because we need to be brought on side. I mean, the government, and this is the advice I'm giving to the State Law Office and the Public Health Office through Mutahi Kagwe. We cannot rely on an incident or an expose that was done on 3 bars. We represent 54,000 bars in this country. And in Kiswahili we say, hakuna soko haina mwenda wazimu. So the whole industry cannot suffer because of 2-3 bars, in which case, if those bars breach the law, I mean, the police are there, and the law is there to deal with them. So that's why we're calling those regulations based on a media expose. And the media expose, we strongly condemn it because it was subjective. It was not independent. I'm the Secretary General. I was not called to contribute on it.
All right.
Nobody was called to contribute on it. In fact, some of the clips that they played from the association are old clips that were done in Mweki, so like a month ago. So we call that investigation. That is a very small unit. I'll give you an example. And this is what I'm calling on the media to do. We're calling on the media to go around these bars and restaurants, and we'll give them a few. For example, I'll give you Green Spot.
Right.
Once that bar is full, based on COVID regulations, I'm telling you the bar is closed.
Why do you say so?
Not once or twice that the owner or the management of Green Spot, through compliance of the law, that they do tell their customers, our bar is full and we are not going to accommodate anybody else. Okay. That is one. Number two, there are so many restaurants in this town, and even in Kenya, where we've gone ahead and employed bouncers on anybody who's going to breach the social distancing rule. You just removed out. And that's why we've even instructed our members. Now it is time for you, make sure that you've written in your bars that you have the right of admission. So that anybody who breaches COVID rules is removed. That is it. So
you're trying to say that, okay, it's one of the local media houses that did that particular investigative story. You're never given a right to reply, because it is an aspect in journalism that in case of a story, there is a right to reply. Were you guys not called on board to give your insight, so to speak?
Under the freedom of speech and expression, and with the good spirit that we've built journalism and these media houses, unlike the previous period. I think independence and balancing of stories are principles that are supposed to be followed. But we were surprised to find that a whole investigation is done. And some of the clips even that came out from the investigation, they were just funny. I mean, somebody is just running a camera outside a restaurant and seeing the cars that are parked. In fact, we were asking ourselves, so nowadays you're not supposed even to park your car outside a restaurant. Like the case that was in Kitengela. Just cars that were aired, and then we were told that those restaurants are breaching the law. So we asked ourselves, you're not even supposed to go and eat them. But that is one. Number two, there is something else that I want to challenge the government of late. They've been coming up with issues of, hey, you know, when Mutahi Kagwe was saying that people are going to the bars asking for 1 Mutahi Kagwe and 2 sausages,
it's a Kagwe
what
special.
did he mean for Kagwe special? He meant that alcohol is permitted and supposed to be sold. So all these other hula balloons that are coming up, and that's why we're calling. I think whenever we're in the bars, we tell people sober up. So my urge is to request the government, please sober up. Let's not just focus on the bar because he's a weak link. Or for us to be seen that we are working. No. Let's call the industry players. Let's sit down, discuss, look at the weak link. Actually, even the fact that they opened the restaurant, it's us who gave the government those ideas. Because we even understand that we can be a hotspot of spreading COVID.
So talking about you guys being a hotspot of spreading COVID, the medical experts have come up with the notion that excess intake of alcohol can lead to weak immunity, which a good immunity is required in the battle against COVID-19. Again, excessive drinking of alcohol can lead to carelessness, which of course can lead to the breach of the laws that have been put in place in terms of combating the disease. Don't you think the Ministry of Health are of course coming at a certain point of argument that you two needs to have a discussion and get to a middle point when it comes to all of this?
Let me say the following. There's a joke that is said in town. Maybe Tusker is what that brought that aeroplane with COVID. Maybe it is alcohol that is spreading all these things. Let me tell you, these people, they are not honest. They're not honest. We've even asked. I think, I don't know if the government is changing in terms of decision, because we're seeing a lot of emotional decisions being made. The government is a government of processes, is a government of documents. And the question that we've asked, show me a case of COVID that was spread in the bar. Show me a case where we are taking our employees for testing and some of our employees have COVID. There are no reports. What I've come to realize in the general alcohol industry, there is just that passion, hatred for our industry. But when it comes for taxes and revenues, every year, same tax. Every time when the government has a deficit in taxation, that is when they fall in love with us. And that's what we are saying. Let everybody, and that is our request for the industry, and that's the request we have for the government. Please sober up. Let's follow reports. We understand. For example, let me give you an example. And we show you that as an association and as an industry, the whole industry, we've come up with measures to ensure that COVID is not spread in our place. For example, the whole industry, we are coming up with a budget of 500 million, where we are going to train our people on sanitation.
All right.
On social distancing, on COVID regulation. We're also even going to teach them on how they're going to make sanitizers from their home at an affordable price. And even the program was supposed to start next week in Nairobi, in which case we are targeting to train at least 35,000 bar owners in this country, in partnership with the manufacturers, in partnership with AMREF, in partnership with the whole industry. This is to bring an awareness, and this is the issue that we're trying to communicate to Kenyans. We are aware there is a disease, and we are aware that this disease can cause mayhem, and we are a hotspot, and that is why we've decided to invest 500 million Kenyan shillings.
All right.
In training our people and raising their awareness and ensuring that our people are compliant.
All right. Now, that is really a great initiative if indeed it's being, implemented down there in the several 41 counties that are sort of part of the Bar Owners Association. That's a great initiative. But I want to ask, since April when the bars were closed down, have you received any support from the government to help help those who have been affected in this particular industry, given that a lot of people have lost their jobs? Have you received support either from the county government, given that, the crackdown on the sale of alcohol is now a devolved function? Have you received any sort of support?
First of all, I would like to thank a few governors that we've seen them particularly coming to our industry. For example, Governor Lee Kinyenjui, we've seen him feeding specifically the bar owners and people from the alcohol industry. We've even seen Mwangi Wairia, Nowira too. We really appreciate you, Governor. Okay. And we are also requesting the other governors, please, our people right now, they're hungry. The bar owners, because let me tell you, in the operation of the bar business, I don't know who tells people that bars have money. If we had money, we're supposed to be the millionaires of this town. But look at the bar owners who've run the bars for 40 years. They're still flat broke.
But they say that alcohol consumption is quite high in Kenya, so we assume that given that a majority of Kenyans consume alcohol in quite a high rate, then you guys might be balling, so to speak.
I think that's the assumption. Is on the same base that the police also assume the same. So I am on this side, the police is waiting for me. We are among the highly taxed people in this country.
Yeah, that
I mean, if we come from taxes from the whole value chain, from the farmers to even running a small bar, you need like 10 licenses. You need liquor license. You need business permit. Okay, what is liquor license? Okay, I don't know. This one is now telling you is a preventive license. Don't sell. You need the police license. I'm sorry to say so, but it's a must for you to have the police license. You need public health. You need to pay for fire. You need to pay for VAT. You need to pay for TOT. You need to pay for pay. For example, let me give you an example. A normal supermarket, any supermarket that you can mention, or even a supermarket, even a banking hall. For example, a banking hall in Nairobi town, the total licenses they pay to the county is around 100,000. If you go to the next bar that is near it and count all those licenses, tourism fund, tourism regulatory, 2%, all those levies, you'll find that bar in an year, it pays licenses to the tune of 500,000.
Right.
I mean, that is killing
the...
Let's go back to the point. We thank the government through the Ministry of Trade and the Ministry of Tourism. We're sitting now with them. We go to them to cry, like right now, the way we're doing, and they listen to us. Let's go back to the county governments. First of all, my friend, the governor of Kiambu, Nyoro. The other day, Mheshimiwa Governor, I would like to bring this to your attention. We sat down with the county attorney. That is the Kiambu Bar Owners Association and the county attorney and the director of liquor. And we made an agreement, which you can get it from your office, of creating a working relationship between the bars in Kiambu and the county government. But Governor Nyoro, there's something I want to advise you. Is there are people under you who always enjoy, because they benefit when there's a dispute between the bar owners in Kiambu and your government. And that is something that we brought very openly to the county attorney. So we request for you to organize an urgent meeting between the Bar Owners Association in Kiambu for you to understand these people. Because this is also an industry that employs people. And this is a passionate call I'm calling on the church and even all the other people. And do you know that 70% of Kenyans take alcohol?
Yeah, it is one.
But on the other side, 80% of Kenyans are Christians and they go to church. What does that mean? I mean, majority of Kenyans take this thing.
Yeah.
Because the first miracle that Jesus did,
Okay.
what did he do? That is it. So this passionate hatred that is there on the bar. In fact, the other day when we were looking at taxation, it is the alcohol industry that pays each and every civil servant in this country.
All right.
That is one. Number two, hizi madeni za China mnashinda mkieka na meme zenye mnaeka kwa social media. It is us who pay through taxation, directly and indirectly.
But why is the government now deciding to, when you look at the measures that have been put in place, you have seen industry that have been sort of, revived over time, even as we battle COVID-19. If indeed you guys really contribute a lot in taxes, why has President Uhuru Kenyatta remained adamant on making sure the bars, are closed, even as we have the takeaway services? Why is it that the case, and why haven't you guys, tried to talk to the government to help this particular industry get on its foot even as we battle the pandemic?
One of the aims that we have, even us as an association, and the whole alcohol industry, we're not talking about revenues. Yes. We're talking about COVID-19.
Okay.
And we're here to help the government fight it. And we're here to partner with any government or any association or any NGO that will come. Feel free to call my number to help our people comply. Right. So this is not the time when we're supposed to, even the bar owners, there is no profit that we're making, and we're not even focusing on profits, neither are we focusing on revenues. We're just focusing on break even. Just earn something small, pay your landlord for you not to lose your business, because your business is your child. Yeah.
All right.
So just something. And then when it comes to the government helping Kenyans, we already have people who have suffered, like people in the floriculture. They were all fired when the sky was. So as what we're calling upon is, first of all, this industry of ours is overregulated. And that's what I want to bring to Mutai Kagwe's attention. Okay. Some of the drafts that you did point them here, they're already in other laws. So adding more laws is increasing the cost of bribery in this country. Okay. Is increasing corruption. It is increasing illicit brew. In fact, by now, leave even illicit brews. There is even anti-counterfeit. The counterfeits, there are so many. We understand there are some that are coming from Muranga. There are some that are coming from different places. We had partnered with the county governments and the manufacturers in fighting counterfeits. And our bar owners were a very good source of intelligence in fighting counterfeit. Right now, as we are talking, I'm telling you, even most of the alcohol that you're talking about, KRA has been jumping up and down fighting counterfeit. Right. So, in reality, is this. And to add on that, I would like to bring Motuzo's statement.
Yeah, I actually wanted to point to that. I wanted to ask you that from what he said about that this draft regulation that has been brought into place, he had the sentiment that people will die more of alcohol than COVID-19, given that people will start taking illicit brew. As the Bar Owners Association, do you hold the same opinion that the former Nakada boss is trying to point out?
I'm very happy, and we was always surprised to see Motuzo making such kind of a statement. In which case, I enjoy the fact that nowadays he's invested a lot in rehabilitation. Yeah. And he understands it. On the side of rehabilitation and Motuzo's statement, we appreciate him. But forget not, Motuzo, we still have an issue with you. And the bar owners do not appreciate your conduct because you're the source of all these problems. All right. But when it comes to rehabilitation, not even rehabilitation, when we come to total denial of the alcohol product, the number of people whom we're going to rehabilitate and the losses and the costs that we're going to incur as a country, it will take a period, but it will be too much that we cannot sustain. That is one. Number two, let me bring something else. The Alcoholics Drink Act that is run by the counties. One of its aim and the spirit of the drafters, in which case the National Bar Owners Association, myself, I've participated and contributed, was to ensure that children do not consume, neither see, neither taste, neither smell consumption of alcohol. When we decide to ban sit-in restaurants and bars, what exactly are we doing? Because now we've permitted. I'm even happy about Nyoro. He has made a decision today. He has retracted from this statement. He has said takeaways can go ahead. When you take away, where are you going to take that alcohol? To your own home. In front of your children. They're going to smell. They're going to hear. What exactly are we headed as a country? Where exactly are we headed as a country?
All right. There's a sentiment I wanted to ask you. In South Africa, they banned the alcohol intake, including tobacco. But experts there have come out to point that there is no really correlation between alcohol intake and the increase of cases when it comes to COVID-19. Being really honest and looking at how, alcohol intake is in the country, do you think there is really a correlation between alcohol intake and the increase of COVID-19 cases in the country? Being really honest.
I don't think there's any. I've even read those reports from South Africa. Even there are others from India, where they're also protesting the same. I don't think there's any correlation to do with it. And actually, this is a challenge I'm giving to the Ministry of Health. By last week, there was a joke on COVID. I think, and this also, I'm also sending it to the Ministry of Information. Let us bring serious awareness on Kenyans that there is COVID, and we can prevent ourselves. These are the things that we're doing. These short-term and emotional decisions are not going to give us any benefit. Let us bring serious awareness. There's a song, which is a joke that is being played, that they are asking, we unajua mtu mwenye akona COVID?
There's that.
There's that song that is going around.
All right.
Do you know of anybody whose brother and sister that have COVID? Such kind of jokes. And if you look at the way our people in Kenya have come out to work, today I've gone through Thika Road. If you go to Githurai, I mean, everybody is there. They don't even care. In fact, if you ask them, they're going to tell you we are wearing masks because of the police.
Okay, so there's
So we really need to invest in educating and empowering our people on the seriousness. And that is why we, as the whole alcoholic industry, we're setting aside 500 million to make sure that our people, the awareness and the seriousness of control and fighting this disease is brought.
All right.
Apart from these jokes that and these announcements of each and every day. If you go to the village, I mean, not even the village, even if you go to town, there's not that seriousness of awareness of there's this disease and this disease can kill us.
All right, Mr. Kashoka, we are pressed on time, but I'll give you a minute to, of course, tell us what you think or what you would advise President Uhuru Kenyatta when it comes to the bar industry and the pubs and what we are seeing in the country at this particular moment. What can be your intake? I've seen you defend the Bar Owners Association. Given that you're the Secretary General, of course, it is nothing anticipated. So tell me in 1 minute what you would want the President to do and the Ministry of Health to do in supporting this particular industry that has been adversely affected by COVID-19.
Good. First of all, we'd like to appreciate the President. He's always been on our side. And don't forget, the other day when he was speaking, he said he takes something and don't tell the other company. So he's our customer.
All right.
I would like to appreciate His Excellency on the war and everything, and also the Minister of Health. And Mutahi Kagwe, we've engaged severally and he's doing a good job. We'd also like to advise Mutahi, let us work together. In fact, we're even challenging the Council of Governors through the Chair Oparanya. Right. Call us for a meeting. Let's talk. Let's discuss these things. On that note, I would also like to bring this as an issue of concern to our members. Yesterday, we issued a warning on our members who are not complying with COVID regulations.
Okay.
We urge you, our members, please stop it. The law is very clear and the regulations are very easy. Visit your public health officer. May you be examined. Some counties like Nakuru County, they're examining our employees for free.
Okay.
So please, follow on those rules. Comply with them. Because these, right now, we're not fighting against revenue. We're not fighting against the government.
It's against the
but
pandemic.
We're fighting against the disease. On my footnote is this. I'd like to appreciate this this is a joke. There's this guy who's called Sami Ropado and Mash. They told me if I leave this studio without mentioning their name, they'll kill me. So hi. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Bonface Gashoka, of course, for giving us an insight on what is happening in the bar, hotels, and liquor industry. What are the challenges that you're facing at this particular moment? And, of course, giving us an insight on the draft regulation that the Ministry of Health is imposing on alcohol sale.
Thank you.
All right. That has been Mr. Bonface Gashoka. He is the Secretary General of the Bar, Pubs and Liquor industry here in Kenya, giving us an insight of what is happening in the country in concern to alcohol sale and what are the challenges they are facing. They say even as the government continues giving us, measures in place to fight COVID-19 pandemic, the bar industry should not be given the blanket condemnation when it comes to this particular battle. We're taking a short break, but we'll be back in a moment. You stay tuned.